Now let's dive deep into the big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Bonnie Builder, and let's clear up the USA View. Supreme Court leans toward parents in Mahmoud versus Taylor LGBTQ book case. The U.S. Supreme Court's conservative majority appeared sympathetic Tuesday to religious parents objecting to LGBTQ-inclusive storybooks in Maryland's Montgomery County Public Schools. At the heart of Mahmoud versus Taylor is the question, should parents have the right to opt their children out of lessons featuring queer characters? Initially, parents were allowed to opt out when books about same-sex marriage and drag queens were introduced in 2022. But the district halted that policy in 2023, citing concerns about isolating LGBTQ students and violating anti-discrimination laws. Now, parents from various faiths, Islam, Roman Catholicism, and the Ukrainian Orthodox Church are asking the nation's highest court to reinstate those opt-outs. And during over 2 hours of oral arguments, the court's 6 conservative justices showed strong support. Justice Samuel Alito asked, quote, "What is the big deal about allowing them to opt out of this?" end quote. Chief Justice Roberts and Alito questioned the, quote, moral messaging of books like Uncle Bobby's Wedding, which features a same-sex couple. But liberal justices saw deeper concern. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson warned that granting broad opt-out rights could prevent queer teachers from even mentioning their spouses, while Justice Sotomayor asked whether parents might soon object to books about magic, evolution, or even working women. A decision is expected by summer, and it could either narrowly favor religious parents in this case or set a sweeping precedent for public schools nationwide. Now, I brought up this anecdote a few times, and I'm going to bring it up again. When I was in grade school, not that long ago, when I was discovering my sexuality, I went to the library in the school and found a book that had the word gay on it, checked it out. A fellow student of mine caught me checking it out, and they're like, "Oh, are you taking this because you're in so-and-so's class?" I was like, "Yep, that is the only reason I'm taking this book. That is, I have a project due tomorrow." So I took that book out, took it home, I read it. It was a very, I don't want to use the word conservative, but it was a very simplistic book about what is gay, how is gay, biologically speaking, what is it politically. A very small book, just like what it is to be gay. And I found it so enticing because I had never understood what gay was before that moment. Now, another anecdote. When I was also in grade school, not that long ago, we were reading Huckleberry Finn. And I believe that's the correct book because that book has the N-word in it.
Yep.
And when my father found out, he wrote a very strongly worded letter, Jesus Christ, wrong show, letter to my teacher and expressed his discontent with that word. I don't remember what came of it afterwards because none of my business, but I've been in the midst of both sides of this. So as a queer student who was learning about being queer, we need those books in libraries. We need access to those books because that was a very healthy way for me to discover what is gay.
True.
It was in an educational setting, in a monitored setting where I could figure it out on my own. I wasn't groomed in any way. I didn't have anybody swaying me. No one making me feel bad or bullying me. It was me and this piece of educational material right in front of me. Now, I understand parents having issue with some books that are being exposed to your children. Have that conversation between you, your child, and the educator. Just having a whole sweeping precedent so that no one can do it is actually insane to me. My dad had issue with it, so he took it up directly with the person he had issue with, and I think that's the best way to handle it. And if another black student in my class if their parent had no issue with it, they shouldn't be punished for that, or they shouldn't have to receive consequence for that. So keep it between you, your child, and the educator. Having a grand precedent of what you want to have happen affecting the whole mass of the education system is absolutely ridiculous to me.
Well, and again, reading a book doesn't make you gay.
No.
Reading a book doesn't make you gay. Look, honestly, let them opt out. Your unvaccinated, uneducated kid is the one that's going to end up suffering at the end. All right? The rest of us know who we are.
Yes.
You know, that's the sad part about it. My little anecdote, okay? So in high school, sex ed was something that you had to have your mom sign off on, right? You know, and of course, I forged my mom's name and sent it in, right? But like other people in my class had very strict parents, and their parents opted out to not. One of my closest friends in high school, right? Fast forward, she didn't know shit about sex or sex education. Who ended up pregnant by the end of the year? She did.
Oh, see?
You understand? Like,
oh my God, yes.
Who suffers?
Yes.
The children.
The children. That's right. You know, when I hear stories like that, I can't help to think about my little queer self and what I went through growing up and the horrendous bullying, not only physical name callings, but also physical beatdowns. And, you know, I didn't grow up in a time where there was LGBTQ support groups. Right. What? Like, you just better suck it up and try to survive. And so, you know, as an older person, and no, I wasn't in elementary school not too long ago. It's been a while. Let's just say I've been around the block. But as an older trans woman, I was so happy to see like there was progression and our community was getting more rights and kids were not going to have it as hard as me. And now we're reverting back. And I can't help to think like if you ban a word, if you ban a topic, a little queer kid is going to feel even more ostracized because we can't at least have a discussion about what I'm feeling. And see what they do. The far conservative right, they blur it with sexuality, with sex. And of course, sexuality needs to be taught at a, you know, age appropriate. But like you know, it's good to learn about different types of people when you're little because you grow up knowing that, oh yeah, there's all types of people in the world.
Of course, but you know what that also does? It elevates the hate, okay?
Yeah.
You were beat between an inch of your life on a school bus, Raji. This is your reality, all right? Those kids must have learned hate at home. Yeah. That's where you learn it.
You do.
You know?
Yeah. That's true.
Those kids, it turned into hating adults. Yeah. And this is what we're making. More of those adults that don't know how to deal with LGBTQ plus community, so they want to hate it. And especially those self-loathing ones who are queer themselves.
Hello.
I think the banning of the books is going to be, this court case is going to be very interesting because, you know, are we going to stop learning about birds and bees independently and what they do, like magic, evolution, like the working woman. What about Amelia Earhart? We're never going to know about that. Why? Because we're going to ban a book about a woman. It just gets very dangerous. And what's the old saying? Reading is fundamental. Just leave the damn thing in the library.
And a big shout out going out to Judge Sotomayor for being an incredible human.
I love her.
No matter what, you still speak for us at any given moment. When you have the ability to, you do. So thank you. That is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing.